I've started to work on a new game called Hecla the Witch, together with my 5-year-old daughter. I wasn't really planning on including her in this project, but she was around when I started and, well, she was very clear about her being the lead designer of the game. So, here we are. The game is about Hecla, whose biggest dream is to become a witch. Only just about everyone around her doesn't believe in magic and thinks she's just a silly little child spending way too much time in her Halloween costume. Hecla, however, is determined to be accepted to a magical school that most definitely exists. She's sure of it. The game follows her on her quest to find the magical items that will get her accepted to the school, and hopefully also find the school. I wanted to create something incredibly similar to the old Game Boy Zelda games. But my daughter wanted the character to be a witch, and now we're brainstorming ideas for magical items. My main inspiration for the game is Link's Awakening, which I played a lot as a kid. But while our kids both know a lot of the Zelda games, I think my daughter's main inspiration is Blossom Tales, which is this fun Zelda-like game that she plays once in a while with her dad. I hope you will follow along while we go on our own quest to create this game. The first thing we did was to figure out who the main character is and how she could look. Having a 5-year-old as co-designer can both be tricky and extremely inspirational. She really has a lot of cool ideas for the game, but she's also maybe not the best at compromising. So the first of a long list of things we debated was colors. I'm always a bit afraid of colors for some reason. So I picked a few color palettes from lilspec.com and then we tested color ideas. And we went through a lot of ideas for colors. At one point, our oldest daughter also wanted to pitch in, and that really didn't make it any easier. In the end, we did reach some sort of understanding. And this is what we will be moving forward with for now. With the player taken care of, I then spent the first evening setting up the project and created a new Trello board to manage our work. I've made the board public for now, so you can also follow along there if you like. There's a link to the board in the description to this video. I also created a few new items for the tile set and set up this little scene. This is where I stumbled upon the 2 first questions I needed to explore further. First, I was debating whether to have 4-directional or 8-directional movement. In my other game project, the player can move in 8 directions because, well, I guess I just felt like this is what is expected. But I've been thinking about trying out 4-directional movement instead for a while. So, for now, I decided that this is what we'll be trying for this project. I think this could also help with the Zelda feel I'm trying to give the game. One thing I was sure about was that I didn't want one direction to be prioritized over the other. It should be so that every time a new input key is pressed, the direction should change to this, no matter what the direction was before. One exception is when both keys in the same axis are being pressed. This should stop the movement. To implement this, I first get the input direction vector, and then if one of the keys in the horizontal directions are just pressed, then we set the vertical movement to 0, and if one of the keys in the vertical direction are just pressed, then we set the horizontal movement to 0. For this to work, we also have to store the last direction the player moved, so we can use this when we keep pressing a key. The next thing has to do with the game's resolution. How many tiles in each direction? Widescreen or more old school? I'm not sure what we will end up with yet, but if we go with something closer to this, then I will use the areas on each side for things like health and items and inventory. But after trying it a bit, I might also like this 16 by 10 tiles layout. I think it will also depend on how we will end up making the dungeons. Do you have any preferences? Then please let me know in the comments below. After a somewhat productive evening, I took a break from coding most of today and enjoyed the garden while brainstorming story ideas with my cute little co-designer. Having her a part of the project is really growing on me. She had a lot of good ideas, but I think we will save those for another video. I sprained both my ankles 2 weeks ago, so I also spent a lot of time on the terrace just relaxing and reading in the sun. It is summer after all. And now we're up to date with when the first part of the script for this video was written. I'm hoping I will get a bit more coding time after dinner tonight and maybe also a bit on the weekend. We also have a few house projects to get done while my husband is on vacation from his work, so we'll see how it goes. Now it's Friday afternoon and I think I have a bit of time to work now and then hopefully again after dinner tonight. I didn't get any coding done yesterday because I got sucked in by making pixel art. We've been debating what the player's starter weapon should be. A stick, a sword, or maybe a pouch with magical powder. We really like the magical powder idea, but at the same time, we want magic to have a cooldown, and well, there also needs to be a weapon without cooldown, especially in the beginning, I think. So yeah, we haven't really found a good solution for this yet. But anyways, I ended up drawing this little stick or wooden toy wand. And then I also wanted to add some extra swoosh to the animation, which I think is probably what I spent most time creating. For now, we'll go with this as the first weapon, but it will most likely change. This is just to get started on the next few tasks from our Trello board. But first I need to finish editing a little tutorial for my time system series, and then I will be back to work on Hecla the Witch afterwards. So the tutorial is done and so are the exercises for it. But now it's Saturday and I've just been editing this devlog so far today and, well, also spent time with the family and so on. Friday I did manage to get some work done in the evening, but I'm only now realizing that I must have mixed up some of the video clips when I edited some of the previous parts. I did draw the stick and animation Friday afternoon, but it was a bit different than the final result. And it wasn't actually added to the game yet, because that's what I did yesterday evening. I experimented with the attack animation, imported it into Godot, and realized that my life would be so much easier if I used an animation player instead of the animated sprite I had used so far. And then I also tried to change the attack animation a bit so it could look like the magical powder I was talking about earlier. Honestly, I really like this idea. We just have to figure out what uses magic or mana and what doesn't. And I think this is a good place to end this first devlog. I still have time for a bit of work tomorrow, but I'm thinking about looking into a few other things. If I get time for Hecla, then I'll be adding a camera and maybe start drawing our first enemy. But you'll see next time. Okay, so that was it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more like this in the future, then remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment and all that. Bye!